All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station, back with another NHL breakdown here for this monster 13-game main slate. We have all 32 NHL teams going on action today on this nice Tuesday here. However, main slate is only 13 of those 16 games, with the 3 games starting earlier. I'll do my best to break it all down for everyone here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton here. And if you are not a member yet, shipitnation.com. Use that promo code NBA15. As always, I'm going to walk through the matchup sheet, the stone that we have available. NBA coming back tonight. Our guys BJ and Rio, Mr. Hebrew Cheetah, the man, the myth, the legend, going to be breaking down the NBA 2-game slate tonight, as well as covering NBA content the rest of the year. NBA 15 brings down all access pass to our website, including an optimizer for $85 a month. Some places across the industry are charging $89 plus just for NBA alone, and then you got to go on and buy an optimizer as well. NBA 15 gets you access to our site for every sport, including an optimizer for all the sports we offer for $85 a month. No better rate in the industry than over here at SHIPIT Nation. But without further ado, let's jump in. I'm going to share my screen here and show you some premium content we have over at the Nation. As you can see here, this is the matchup sheet on display. These numbers are going to continue to get better as we have more season data here, but most of these teams have 5, 6, 7, 8 games under their belts, regardless of maybe 1 or 2 teams, but most of them have at least 5 games into play. So these numbers and matchups over the course of the season start to have a little bit more weight at this point of the year. So this is kind of the first spot I start to break down the slate here. So looking at the games that we have on the main slate here, we start with the Stars and the Sabres. This is the goals for, goals against, expected goals for, expected goals against here. And then you go shots for, shots against, and then the penalty power play numbers over here, the power play chances per game, and then the high danger chances here. So this is kind of the first spot I start. Obviously, you see green is good, red is bad. You kind of read it diagonally here. And what jumps off the page, hence the minus 230 favorites here, is these Rangers. But that's not always the case. Obviously, you see the Maple Leafs massive favorites here. I'm not so much as interested in the Maple Leafs as many other people are going to be, I think, in terms of that. So I use this really to break down the slate. And then jumping over to our stone, which is the stone nuts, to break down the slate even further. You use the matchup sheet to kind of pick your spots where you want to target. Obviously, I outline that in the slate plan as well, which is another premium piece of content over here for NHL for our subscribers. But then you jump over to the stone and you see the individual skaters, the lines they're on, what their numbers look like for the season, how many shots on goal are they averaging per game, how much ice time are they seeing per game, and then what's their assist and their overall goals, their projections, their ownership that we have. So really everything you need to have success with DFS right here in a niche sport like NHL, which many of the people that are out there wanting to jump in with MLB kind of on the back burner now. Maybe not everyone's an NBA player. Maybe not everyone really knows what to do when there's not football going on. Jump into the NHL streets. If you're familiar with MLB, MLB, you build lineups very similar to NHL, right? Goalie is quote unquote your pitcher. You still want to stack to get those secondary assists, the main assist, and then the goal scorer, much like you get with RBIs, runs batted in, right? Single, double, things like that. So it's pretty similar in terms of that. Jump right in here. The stone makes it very easy to build teams, and then obviously use the slate plan there in my core plays, and you can really build yourself competitive lineups to have a shot at some nice money over the course of the season here. So Without further ado, let's jump in, talk the first game on the slate here. We have the Dallas Stars and the Buffalo Sabres. UPL is going to be in net here for the Sabres. Jake Ottinger, absolute stud. 100% win percentage on the season. Obviously, as you see there, save percentage, very good. Very, very good goalie in general. I mean, he's live to win the trophy at the end of the year for the best goaltender over the course of the season. Stars look like an absolute wagon. Stars are really good here. However, from a DFS perspective, I really don't have much interest in this game. If I were to go to anyone, I think the price points on Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, and Peterka are still pretty nice, but the way Dallas plays, how deep Dallas is, their defense, their goaltending, this is a cross-off game for me in terms of DFS. If I were to go to side, like I said, it would be that fully line one correlation from Buffalo. The Stars, you can always play a Wyatt Johnson certified stud, but I really don't love the Dallas side too much. I mean, I think Wyatt Johnston makes some sense there. Jamie Benn, that Evgeny Dadonov, that would probably be where I go. Rupia Hintz at 5'7", still fairly priced. He's going to play 18 or so minutes. But again, just not a game that I'm targeting. 13 games, you can't play them all. This is the first game on the slate. Not much interest for me. However, jumping to the next game here, the New York Rangers, you want to talk about a wagon. The Rangers look absolutely incredible. Now they get Sam Montembeault here on the slate, who, hey, kind of stood on his head early in the year. He's a good goalie overall. I just think he's outmatched here in this spot here. The Rangers, absolutely insane. The Montreal Canadiens are due for some regression as opposed to in terms of expected goals against. They again kind of been playing over their head a little bit. Obviously, that's on the back of Montembeault, their goalie there, that kind of had a couple 40-plus save games or 35-plus save game wins there against pretty good offenses overall. I think they're over their head here. I love the Rangers here. I love them all. My favorite line is Vincent Trocheck, the Panarin line. I mean, they're playing absolutely out of their mind right now. If you want lower ownership, jump into the Mika side. The Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, Riley Smith, I think is an interesting route. I love both the top two lines here. Panarin, absolutely on fire right now. His 9,100 price point is warranted. He is my favorite spend-up wing on the slate. I mean, the dude's just absolutely incredible right now, doing it all. I mean, he's averaging over a goal a game over the course of the season so far. I mean, all things point to the Rangers here. It's not a contrarian take by any means, but if you want to get a little contrarian, like I said, with this team, jump into the Mika side, right? Going to Mika, Chris Kreider, Riley Smith, you get some power play correlation there, and then throw in a Chris Kreider or a Panarin. I mean, a Vincent Trocheck if you want to correlate the power play there. I don't hate that, but love the Rangers. On the Canadian side, for me, Lane Hudson, still a punt D-man. Mike Matheson in a game where you expect him to chase. They're going to need some need his offense there. I don't hate those two guys. And then Cole Caulfield seems to be scoring every single night, so don't hate Cole Caulfield, but Rangers are pretty much bust for me in this game. Igor Shesterkin, great spend-up goalie. I just don't know if he's going to see the shot volume he needs at the price point, and he's going to get some ownership here. I prefer other spend-ups more, but Igor is still a great goalie here in that. Love the Rangers. Jumping to the next game, this is another chalk spot here for the Maple Leafs, I think. Playing Columbus here overall. This is a game that I'm going to be kind of under on. I expect some ownership to go to this game, especially on the Toronto side, being minus 230 favorites. I think they're the largest favorite on the slate, or they're tied with the Rangers, right? 6.5 total here. I just think Columbus is a better team than people are giving them credit for. Tarasov in net isn't great, but I mean, he's still solid. I think if this game does, it's going to shoot out. So, I mean, you could make a case for fantasy purposes, but at these price points, I mean, Austin Matthews super expensive. Nylander's way up there in price. Mitch Marner's fairly priced. If I were to have a favorite play in this game, it'd probably be a Nylander one-off or a stack with Max Domi, Bobby McMahon as a way to save value here. So line 2 for Toronto would be the line I'd go to. You save some salary there. You save a little bit of ownership there as well. Still got good plays. Nylander has absolutely owned Columbus in his past as well. But for me, still a spot I'm going to be underweight on. I like other spots more. You can't play them all. at the kind of similar ownership and the heavy favorite, I'd much rather just play the Rangers personally for me in this spot. On the Blue Jackets side, they're super cheap still. Kirill Marchenko, Igor Chinikov is probably my favorite play. The dude's just doing it all. He's got that top power play work as well. He's sub 5K, averaging over 3 shots on goal per game. He's heavily involved in the scoring. He's going to play close to 20 minutes at 4,800. He's probably my favorite option. Zach Werenski as a spend-up D-man, I think makes some sense as well. Another guy too, Damon Severson as a value, 2.7K. I mean, this dude's playing over 20 minutes. He's getting power play time. He's going to block shots. Him and Chinikov are probably my favorite guys from the Blue Jacket side. As a little mini stack there, if you want, they correlate together on the full line strength, right? Both on line 2 there. So those are 2 favorite guys. Toronto line 2 if I'm going to this game, but overall, still not a game I'm super interested in terms of DFS focus. Jumping to the next game here, we have the Islanders, we have the Red Wings. I love the Islanders here. These price points are ridiculous for me. Detroit has been extremely leaky. I mean, expected goals against this team on the season over the 5 games they played is up near 4. I think the Islanders come in here and steamroll this team, especially at home. I really love the spot. If there's a spot for the Islanders power play to get back, it would be in this spot right here. Red Wings killing off 64% of penalties. They're allowing almost 4 penalties against per game. Their high danger chances are up through the roof. Islanders smash spot here for me. Islanders, my second favorite stack, probably on the slate. If not the second favorite, they're tied with probably Calgary later, who I'm going to talk about behind the Rangers on the stack. But I mean, Horvat, Brock Nelson, Barzal, Palmieri, Maximum, all great options here. I would probably leave off. Wallstrom. It looks like he's bumped down to line 4. For a while, he looked like he was up on that second line. So, I mean, line 1, line 2, love these guys. Brock Nelson, great play. Horvat, great play. Jean-Gabriel Pageau as a depth guy, still getting top power play time at 3K. Great value option in this spot. He's only going to play 14 to 15 minutes, which I don't love a ton. But, again, being on that top power play makes him a great value. I think power play stack in the Islanders here tonight is going to be my preferred route. Go Horvat, go Pageau, go Palmieri, go Maxime with no Dobson. I think is a great way to go here tonight. Like I said, Red Wings give up penalties. They're terrible on the penalty kill, and the Islanders haven't been good on the power play, but I think this is a good spot to get right here. So love the Islanders side. On the Red Wings side, really not going to anyone. JT Compher, still a solid value at 3,800. Outside of that, Eric Gustav, I mean, still a solid value from a D-man perspective, but Red Wings pretty much a cross-off spot for me. I did want to bring up Ilya Sorokin, probably my favorite goalie on the slate at his price point. If I'm spending up over 8K, Sorokin would be the guy I go to. Next game on the slate here. This game is a cross-off game for me, mainly. Jets and the Blues. Jets, incredible hockey team here. Connor Hellebuyck would be my favorite play in this game at 7,600. Super cheap overall. He's going to be pretty popular, but for a good reason. I think he could play Binnington as well in this spot, but I just much rather like Hellebuyck at a similar price point for cheaper, actually, despite being on the road. Really don't care. I think the Jets are a better hockey team. I think they kind of handle this Blues team pretty easily here. So for me, I think Philip Broberg, again, a solid value guy at 2,900. Doesn't play a lick of defense. He's really scoring dependent. You're going to need him to score out there, but at 2.9K at a D-man that's going to play 20-plus minutes, think he makes some sense there. On the Jets side, not a ton of interest. Nico Ehlers, 5,300, great mid-tier play, I think, if you're trying to look for some value or a mini two-man stack here. Ehlers, I think makes a solid one-off, but outside of that, I'm not going to stack up the Jets, not stacking up the Blues here. Hellebuyck, I think is a great play in terms of goalies. Next game on the slate here, Blackhawks, Canucks. Vancouver probably going to pick up a decent amount of ownership here, being minus 180 favorites here. Don't love the spot personally. I do want to say Chicago's power play has been very good with Bedard, Teuvo Teravainen, Nick Foligno. You get a fully correlated full line stack. that is good, going to play 20-plus minutes, and they all correlate together on the power play. If you want an unknown stack that could score some goals at, like I said, no ownership and in a decent spot, I think they make some sense. Vancouver has sub 76% penalty kill, so Bedard, Tuvo, and Foligno. Add in Seth Jones if you want, but I really like that three-man stack. You get full correlation there at virtually no ownership at all. So in tournaments, I think that's a good play. On the Vancouver side, really not a ton of interest here. Like I said, not going to go to Vancouver. I like other spots more. I think Mrazek's a solid goalie. If you're punting goalie at 7,100, I think he's a solid option. But for me, if I were to go to this game, like I said, it's on the Blackhawks side in tournaments at virtually sub 3% ownership for Bedard, Tuvo, Foligno, and then Peter Mrazek if you're punting goalie, like I said. Next game on the slate here, we have the Avs, we have the Kraken. I think the Kraken are a much better hockey team than people expect. I think the Avs have had kind of pretty bad puck luck in terms of metrics. I mean, they're allowing a ton of goals right now, but the expected goals significantly drop off a cliff. I will say the Avs power play is elite with McKinnon, Rantanen, Ross Colton, Cale Makar, Middlestat. They're super expensive. This is a fade spot for me. I'm not going to attack any of these Avs. I think Kraken are a better team than people anticipated. I love this team. I thought they were scrappy last year. Still think they're a solid hockey team this year. They're deep. I will say Chandler Stevenson, still one of the best value plays on the slate at 3,300. Top power play work from a center. He's playing over 20 minutes at 3,300. You just don't see that very often. So really like him a ton. Outside of that, the Kraken scoring is just so spread out. It's hard to pinpoint. So Chandler Stevenson, one off for me. Brandon Montour is a solid option in the mid-tier, I think, for a D-man perspective. Riker Evans at 2.7K, still getting power play time from a deep position, I think are solid. But for me, Chandler Stevenson, or pass in this game. Realistically, not going to go to either side in terms of stacks. More of the same for the next game here, Boston and the Predators. I will say it is Tuesday. Forsberg does tons of damage historically in his career on Tuesday for whatever reason. He's 7,800. He is expensive for a good reason. He's a very good hockey player, obviously, but pretty tough matchup here with Boston. And Nashville just plays tough at home here. So if there were a spot to go here, I just don't like the spot. Nashville always plays tough. Boston historically plays pretty solid hockey, pretty good defensive hockey. They're not the same team they were, but they're still a good quality hockey team. Jeremy Swayman, probably my favorite play in this game from a goalie perspective in that mid-tier, 7,500. Overall good goalie here. Going to see some volume, and I just think this game kind of drags a little bit here. Don't love the spot too much. So pretty much goalie or pass for me. Boston side would be my preferred option if I were going to them, but again, not looking to stack up either side of this game, really. Brady Shea at 3,800, I think, is a solid value play if you're looking there. Forsberg, like I said, one off if you're looking there. Gustav Nyquist at 3,900, still a decent price point on him there. And then Roman Josi, obviously, is a spend-up D-man. You can play him any single slate. You can use him in the utility, but again, not a spot I think I'm getting to here tonight. This next game is interesting for tournaments. We jump to the 9 p.m. games. Hurricanes and the Oilers here. I mean, I think this game could go over the total here. Sebastian Aho, Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis, super underpriced. Aho at 6,500, Svechnikov at 5,400, Seth Jarvis at 5,100. Super underpriced for the talent level and for playing Edmonton. Edmonton hasn't played a lick of defense all season long. Their goalies aren't as bad as what their numbers are showing. I mean, Skinner's allowing on average 4 goals per game over the starts he's had this season. I don't think it's because he's a terrible goalie himself. It's just Edmonton plays zero defense. So he's kind of hung out to dry there. And if you're leaving a goalie hung out to dry here against a deep Carolina team, it could be for a long night. And then obviously that's going to push the pace on the other end. Freddie Anderson is Swiss cheese. I've always thought he's Swiss cheese. He's playing above how I think he is this season so far. I think this is a game for fireworks. I like both sides in tournaments. Not seeing a ton of ownership going to either side of this game. More ownership on the Carolina side, but nonetheless, really no ownership going to this game. And I mean, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at 4,300 is absolutely ludicrous for me. Top line, top power play, him, McDavid, Hyman, Leon Draisaitl. Arvidsson hasn't looked great, but he's still fairly priced. Jeff Skinner at 4,700, he's fine. Bouchard at 6,200, Darnell Nurse, Ekholm. I mean, I think this game is fireworks here. Carolina side is probably more interesting in terms of a stack, just due to the pricing at 6,500, 5,400, and 5,100 for Svetch, Jarvis, and Aho. And then you got Shane Gostisbehere, who has been one of the best D-men in the entire game over the course of the season so far, and he's still 4,400, which is way too cheap. He was min-priced for a long time. DraftKings finally elevated his price, but I mean, the dude's running top point on the top power play here, and Carolina's cashing in roughly 24%. We'll say Edmonton has been terrible on the penalty kill, so I really like the top power play for Carolina now that I look at it even more. I mean, killing off just 58% of penalties right now for Edmonton. And they're giving up almost 4 chances per game. You give 4 chances per game to Carolina's top power player, they're going to pot 2 at least here. So Gostisbehere, Jarvis, Svechnikov, Necas, and Aho. Top power play for me for Carolina, great play. And then, like I said, if there's a spot for Edmonton and McDavid and the company to get back here, could be in a spot here against Carolina. Who I think they're due for some goal regression as well in terms of expected goals against. 2 games left on the slate, or 3 games, left on the slate. All pretty good games in my opinion here. Ottawa in the hockey club, Utah here. I like this spot a lot for Utah. Senators, I think, can give it up overall. They've been pretty leaky so far. Linus Ullmark is a good goalie. I think you could play him in tournaments at 7,400 if you're not going to Utah, but I think this is a spot you could play both sides here. Barrett Hayton, 5,100, Clayton Keller, Gunther, Nick Schmaltz. I'm going to the top power play if I'm going to Utah. Their top power play has been elite, cashing in over 31%. Ottawa Senators penalty kill has been terrible, sub 70%. So it's Utah power play for me. Are the targets on Utah side? Sergachev as well. Obviously fits that build. And then on Ottawa side, I think they're solid. I think Utah's due for some regression here. Connor Ingram allowing over 3 goals per game. And you get some nice price points on Ottawa here. Josh Norris at 4,100. Top power play. I think he's a great play. You can pair him with Drake Batherson and Claude Giroux at very, very cheap pricing overall for full correlation there. So Ottawa line 2 is interesting in terms of a value stack for me. For me here tonight. And then you got Thomas Chabot and Jake Sanderson. Jake Sanderson's playing great right now, 5,700 in that mid-tier if you land in that range for D. Really like him. So pretty good game, both sides. Ottawa line 2, Utah power play 1. I think we see goals in this game for sure. 2 games left on the slate, Calgary and the Penguins here. Penguins have been atrocious defensively, and Calgary has been very good offensively here. I like this spot a ton overall. So Calgary, one of my favorite stacks. Kadri, I really like Kadri, Kuzmenko, all of them. I mean, Blake Coleman, Connor Zary, they're super deep. Line 1, great play with Kadri. And then line 3 is actually pretty sneaky here, in my opinion, overall. So I like the Calgary side quite a bit. On the Penguin side, full fade for me. Not going to go to any of these guys. I get it. Evgeny Malkin's been playing great as of late. Just don't like going to them. I'm not going to target them against Calgary. Dustin Wolf in net, I think, is a solid option. He's playing great. 100% win percentage on the year. He's 2-0. I think going back to him at 8,100 makes some sense overall. He's going to see some volume. Penguins firing the puck on average roughly 32, 33 times per game. So he's going to see some save opportunities there. I don't hate that. So for me, Calgary, love them all. Kadri, Kuzmenko, probably my 2 favorite guys there. And then Mackenzie Weegar at 6,500 from a D. One of the best two-way D-men in the league. Does it all. Penalty kill, power play, you name it, he gets it done. So I really like that spot. Takes us to the last game on the slate here, or 2 games, But the last game that I have interest in is the Sharks and the Ducks. I think this game can be a track meet here. Both these teams are terrible defensively. Anaheim owned this team earlier when they played this the spot, but I will say Mikael Granlund, 5,800. He's been playing out of his mind right now, getting all the minutes he can handle. You pair him with Tyler Toffoli, William Eklund, Zetterlund, who's playing great right now. You have some plays on the Shark side that you can go to. So I don't hate some of these Sharks against the Ducks here. I will say Lucas Dosto played out of his mind, like I said earlier. Their first matchup here, he's overall a pretty solid goalie, but again, I still think you can play some Sharks at virtually no ownership here. On the Ducks side, for me, it's a spot where they if they fit your builds, they're interesting. They're super cheap. The Sharks play no defense, so McTavish I think is solid. Carlson is solid. Trevor Zegras, 4,800. He's solid. Troy Terry, 5,100. He's a good play. The Ducks are super cheap. The Sharks play no defense, so they're in play. Any team against the Sharks all year, I'll really have interest in. So Ducks are fine. Mini stacks or secondary stacks to correlate with some of the Calgary guys if you're going there, some of the Rangers, some of the Carolina guys. I think the Ducks make some sense. Last spot on the slate, Kings and the Knights. Really no interest in this game. I think this is a defensive hockey game. Two great teams. 5.5 total. No reason on a 13-game slate, in my opinion, to play a 5.5 total. Goalies, if you want, Rittich would be my spend-down goalie. If I'm punting goalie, 7,100. Think he's fine. But, yeah, from an offensive standpoint, really not a spot I'm going to for DFS. But that's all 13 games, broke it down and talked through pretty much everything. Again, if you are not a member, SHIPITNation.com. Join now. Use that promo code NBA15. Get you 15% off any membership plan. It's not just the first month. It does go through the longevity of your membership. Obviously, if you cancel, you will lose that promo code pricing if you re-sign up. But $85 a month includes all sports, including our in-house optimizer, Shiptimizer, designed to help you ship. We got it for NBA. We got it for NFL. We got it for all the main sports, MMA, PGA, you name it. We have it there, $85 a month. I mean, NBA starting today, some places across the industry are charging $89 plus just for NBA content. Don't pay those price tags. Come over, check us out. NBA 15% off any membership plan. But that's going to do it for this NHL show. Brought to you by SHIPIT Nation. Good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. For myself, Nadesify. Let's ship it.